Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Three Buck Theater, and here's the moment we've been waiting for. The moment so many of us have been waiting for since the end of Avengers Infinity War back in April. Oh, we finally get the title of Avengers Endgame. Which, as soon as I saw that it was titled Avengers Endgame, because I woke up this morning and saw that it was trending on Twitter, and it was some places try to contain the spoiler, and they wanted to make it a reveal and everything. And I was like, cool. But then I saw that it was Endgame, and I'm all like, called it. Because it's, when Doctor Strange says we're in the end game now, you're like, that's going to be the title of the fourth movie. That's just what they're going to do. That's exactly how they're going to play it. They're going to totally play it up just like that. But Avengers Endgame makes sense. It makes sense because this is not only the end, if you will, of many parts of the MCU. It's a culmination of the journey, right? It's a culmination of the journey that we got all these years ago, starting with Iron Man 2008, culminating here, especially starting off with this image of Iron Man's helmet still damaged from the Battle of Thanos when he's sitting there getting ready to send a final message to Pepper. Not gonna lie, when he starts sending off that message, it's very brief, but man, it cuts right to the core. I was started watching that this morning, and I just all of a sudden started welling up, feeling all these emotions. My inner Kevin Smith was coming out. It was like I was getting a silver play button all over again. I was getting emotional because this is the thing with these characters. I admitted I'm emotionally invested into these characters. I'm emotionally invested into what happens in these stories, which is why the whole Captain Marvel trailer bothers me so much. Like, why is it not looking as good as this? Just this 2 minute and 26 second teaser straight up just tore at my soul. And that's because I know that not everyone is going to make it out, right? Not everyone's going to make it out. Tony here getting ready to send a message off to Pepper. I believe that's the Milano. I could be wrong, but it feels like the Milano floating in space. I say it's the Milano because it just seems like that would be what's there, because Star-Lord and Drax and everyone, they flew the Milano to Titan, right? It's to where it's at. So that's going to be probably what's left behind the ship. But I still don't know how Gamora got there, or not Gamora, Nebula got there. So it could be that ship. It could be the other one. I don't know. I need to go back and rewatch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, but I'm pretty sure that's the Milano. But just look here at the colors, of the depths of space. This is the thing I feel that James Gunn brought to the MCU, right? What he brought to the MCU and what Captain Marvel is having so much trouble accomplishing is the color scheme, and how it became bright and colorful in space and everything else. And I feel ultimately that's one of the elements of this that just didn't really work. I don't know. It's not working well with Captain Marvel. I'm not trying to draw a comparison, but we had the second trailer this week, and we got this trailer tomorrow with Spider-Man Far From Home. Like, it's insane what Marvel is doing this week, I think, to make up for the cancellation of Daredevil, which apparently was a shock to them as well. But then we see him here just looking out into space, right? And that's such an iconic shot of Iron Man alone, well, with Nebula, adrift in space, almost out of food, almost out of oxygen, and ready to basically die. And I mean, obviously, that's not how Iron Man's going to go out. Obviously, that's not how Iron Man's going to go out. That is obviously going to be one of the key things that's going to be driving, for the movie, right? It's going to be, oh, will he live? Won't he live? And it's obviously going to be a big thing. They want to hinge. They're basically going to hedge all their bets on that. They're going to completely play that up in the marketing, because that is what people are emotionally connected into. But I love this shot right here of Thanos putting up his armor clearly outside of a hut. You can see that here on the right hand side. You can see that he's basically become a farmer. He is just living a simple life. He's resting. There's the following shot is him walking through a field of wheat, or whatever the Titan equivalent of wheat would be. And probably him living more of a simple life, him having accomplished his goals. What does he do next? And it's that moment, I think, of where we're going to realize that he maybe doesn't even know necessarily what to do next. And it's one of the paradoxes that comes with being a villain, or seeing villains on screen, is they have these diabolical plans that never, ever, ever come to fruition. Here we actually get to see what happens after the fact. Kind of like National Treasure 2, right? At the end of National Treasure, Diane Kruger, Nicolas Cage, they lovey-dovey, right? The movie picks up a couple years later, and they have separated. Because they just had trouble being compatible with one another because of how they met. And again, we're seeing the aftermath of the happily ever after. So here we're going to see the aftermath of Thanos' happily ever after. Although obviously Thanos won't be the primary character in this film. In Avengers Infinity War, he was the main character, rightfully so. And if Josh Brolin doesn't get a nomination, at least at the Oscars, for best actor, I'm just a little bit disappointed because I think he did an amazing, wonderful job selling the character. Not even just the Mad Titan, but like just the many nuanced layers of the Mad Titan that I think are actually really, really, really wonderfully exemplified in just this one image here, giving you an idea of it's almost like his armor is a scarecrow, right? It's kind of how I look at that too. His armor's kind of a scarecrow, like a don't go back here again, or be afraid sort of thing. I'm not too sure how it's going to play out, but obviously he's living more of a simple, pious life at this point. And this shot I like because it gives you a little bit of an Easter egg here. For one, we see that it's Bruce Banner looking at Scott Lang being gone, and then Tom Holland being gone, and then all of a sudden we get the image of Shuri. And that was something that wasn't talked about at all at the end of Avengers Infinity War. What happened to Shuri? Well, Shuri didn't survive the snap at all. She ended up getting taken out, which is unfortunate because everyone really liked Shuri, and her being one of the popular characters that was in what was it, Black Panther. People are going to be very bummed about that. But Shuri and T'Challa are gone, so that's going to be something to look at as well. What I liked here was this brief shot of I believe Ronan, right? I believe Ronan. Obviously it's Jeremy Renner doing his thing, looking all badass as usual, right? Pissed off Jeremy Renner. But there's a line in there where he says we've all done things or whatever. So something along those lines where basically it's going to end up taking, this takes place, I think, years later. I think this is going to pick up a long time later, where they're dealing with the devastation of what happened, of people losing their friends and their families and their loved ones, the world not knowing. I think they've even said they hid away what Thanos did. They never talked about what Thanos did. They never gave that information to the general public. The world just thinks the rapture happened, which is going to be interesting if they play up the rapture angle, because then that's going to make people realize, oh, well, the pious have left the earth. Now it's all, for the ne'er-do-wells, the villains and the criminals. And I think that might be where Ronan here comes into play. Then we got the shot here of Cap's compass looking over at Agent Carter, a very, very, very sexy Haley Atwell, as always. Not gonna lie, she's like my favorite woman in all the MCU. I love Haley Atwell. That being said, this is where I think we get into an odd thing, because I have a theory about this. Looking at this shot right here, him talking with Black Widow, and look at Steve. Clean shaven, hair pulled back, looking like he did in Captain America, the First Avenger, and then also holding this compass right here. And they're talking about a plan, right? And saying he's like, she's like, this will work, Steve. And he's like, it has to. I don't know what else I'm gonna do if it doesn't work, right? So the question then becomes, what is that? What is the question? What is the thing? What what's gonna be it, right? What's gonna happen here? This is where I think time travel comes into play, because I do know that Haley Atwell was at Pinewood Studios, was in Georgia or North Carolina. She was shooting somewhere. She posted about it on Instagram last year that she was there. Not saying why. Everyone pretty much figured it was Avengers related, even though her character died a couple years ago. But we do know that they did reshoot the end sequence from the first Avengers movie, where Loki and Thor blasted off with the Tesseract back to the Bifrost to Asgard. So there's that connection that we know was already shot. Time travel is going to be a big part of this. I think time travel is ultimately going to play the biggest part in all of this. I think that's what Doctor Strange was referring to in the Endgame. And I think that's going to be the biggest part of it, right? So I think this is Captain America going back in time, maybe to get the Tesseract, maybe to do something. He's basically going to Marty McFly this motherfucker. He's going to go back to the Future 2 style and try to get something before it changes. I don't know what's going to happen with it, but this is clearly a time travel thing. This is clearly a time travel element to it. And because they've been hinting at it for a while, and I think it all boils down to the Time Stone and Doctor Strange and what the 14 million ways to win. And I think he knows it. And I think this is going to be part of it. I could be wrong, but that's kind of how I view it. But then again, my favorite part my favorite part of the trailer is at the very end, because up until this moment I was like, oh, like emotions are welling, oh dear god, emotions are welling, what am I gonna do? And then all of a sudden, we get more, we get Scott Lang at the front door of the Avengers compound, like, hey guys, remember me? Like, you know me from Germany, right? Like, yeah, no, it's me, it's Ant-Man. You know Ant-Man, all right? Come on, like, you wanna buzz me in? And it's just Paul Rudd being Paul Rudd, and that's the thing. The movie needs that, right? Like the movie, the emotional impact of the film that is going to have on people with their favorite characters being either in limbo or near death or whatever, trying to solve this problem, trying to save Earth, to avenge it, sort of way. And then here comes happy-go-lucky Scott Lang, like, hey guys, I was stuck in the quantum realm, but I'm doing better now. I'm doing much better now. You want to let me in? You want to solve this thing? And it's entirely possible that going through the quantum realm is going to be how they go back in time. If they don't have the time stone, the quantum realm is going to be it. Because we already know that the next few years for Phase 4, the quantum realm is going to play a large part of this. And I do hope we get a lot more Ant-Man. I felt Ant-Man and the Wasp was a fun movie, but it kind of felt like filler, to be honest with you. And I think I think when Ant-Man's with the team is when he shines the best. Again, I'm not knocking Ant-Man and the Wasp. I very much enjoyed it. But I still feel that ultimately compared to the other movies, it's kind of like filler. And so we'll have to wait and see what's happening here. I mean, obviously this is a teaser. It's a long teaser, but it's a teaser. And we're going to probably get another trailer come February. Is what I'm assuming at this point, but now we get to wait tomorrow for Spider-Man Far From Home. But the question remains to you guys here: what is it? Do you feel about Avengers Endgame? Do you feel like this is going to be the creme de la creme of everything, or do you think it's going to be just is just going to be a good bookend? I think personally, it's gonna knock it out of the park. I think Infinity War knocked it out of the damn park. Just in terms of how they handled the movie, how the movie was written, how it was acted. I think it was the best MCU from the date, not just because it had the most actors in it, but I think because it told the most compelling story and it tied up storylines. The question is now, how are they going to bring it home? And you can see why this is going to be a multi-billion-dollar movie. I, for one, can't wait for when it comes out. I think early May, or it could be April at this point. I literally have no idea, but just look, let me know when. I'm going to be there. Popcorn in hand, drink in hand, ready to probably, weep my eyes out, depending on how the thing ends. I don't expect to walk away from that movie straight. You know what I mean? Like, I don't expect to walk away from that movie not feeling just an absolute cornucopia of emotions. But anyway, I leave it to you now. What are your thoughts on this? What did you like about the trailer? What didn't you like about the trailer? If you made it this far, type Endgame into the chat so I know. Thumbs up the video, subscribe to 3 Buck Theater. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. Again, oh yeah, you guys can also call in to our voicemail line at 818-350-3281. It's 818-350-3281. I always screw that up with the damn 858. Anyway, but no, 818-350-3281. Shoot a call in. I'll be doing a call in for tomorrow. And I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a fantastic day, and peace out.